Hi students, in this session we are going to learn about a special sense organ that helps us to sense the vision. Generally, this vision helps us to identify the surrounding things and also threats that present in our environment. To sense this vision, one sense organ is there. Can you guess it? Yes, we call it as our eyes. Our eyes are the sense organ that helps us to detect the vision. Now, one saying is there, that is Sarvendriyanam Nayanam Pradhanam. According to that, among the all sense organs, eyes are the main sense organ as it senses the vision. Now, in this session, let us learn about the structure and the function of the eye. Let us see the structure of eye. Our eye contains three main layers: sclera, choroid, and retina. The outermost, tough, fibrous, non-elastic layer, which is in white in color, that is called as sclera. This sclera bulges apart and forms the cornea. The end of the sclera is having a optic nerve that leaves the eyeball. The second layer, we call it as a choroid. It is black in color as it having lots of blood vessels. We simply call it as a vascularized layer. This entire eyeball except the pupil part, and at the pupil part it forms iris, which is made by the radial muscles and circular muscles, and a biconvex lens is present immediately behind the pupil. As this biconvex lens, which is crystalline in structure, that is suspended by suspensory ligaments and ciliary muscles. This lens divides the eye into two parts: the front aqueous chamber and the back vitreous chamber. Aqueous chamber is filled with water-like fluid and vitreous chamber is filled with jelly-like fluid. And the third innermost layer, we call it as a retina. In this retina, we can see the photoreceptors like rods and cones. These are the main photoreceptors that helps to detect the vision. Mechanism of the eye. Our eye similarly works like a digital camera. As you see the digital camera, it is also having a lens, and inside the lens we can observe a photoreceptor. As the light waves entering into the camera through the biconvex lens, and these light rays are falling on the photoreceptor. There, the light rays are converted into electronic image. Likewise, our eyes also collects the light rays and they are transferred into the retina through the biconvex lens. Here, the image is falling on the retina in upside down and left side right manner. Then, these image, as the light waves are converted here in the neural signals, and these neural signals are transferred to the brain, where the upside down and left side right is collected by the brain. Let us see the cells and the tissues that present in the eye. The real work of the retina is performed by the photoreceptors that present in the retina. They are generally two types: rods and cones. These rods and cones helps to identify the various colors and different intensities of lights. The rods are present in 125 million in number. They are made up of a special pigment protein that is called as rhodopsin. These rods helps to identify the low intensity lights during the night time and also during low light conditions. And these never make a sense of vision clearly and the image also clearly. To identify the image clearly in bright colors, and another type of photoreceptors, we call it as a cones. They work only in the bright light. At high intensity of light, they help to identify the colors of the object. They helps to identify blue, red and yellow color, and this array of the colors makes the colorful image. Likewise, the blue sky, the yellow field and the bright red sun. So these things are identified by the cones. These cones are particularly present at a point, we call it as a macula or fovea. And these cones are nearly 7 million in number and they are made up of a pigment, we call it as a iodopsin. These cones are mostly concentrated at a particular point at the center of the retina. We call it as a macula. Generally, this macula identifies the image and it concentrates and clarifies the image. Particularly, we use the fovea to scan whatever we interested to see and the faces, and the remaining part is blurred in vision, and some other cells are there in the retina. Their job is to handle the light impulses that falling on the photoreceptor, and they are carried to the nerve, and some other cells also there. They will detect the boundaries and makes the 3D picture of the image. Again, it is important to know that the optic nerve never carries the light. It just carries the nerve impulses to the brain in the form of neural impulses. Strangely, one thing we need to understand that every person is having a blind spot where the photoreceptors are absent. Here, the optic nerve arises due to that the retina, a part is lack of photoreceptors. We call it as a blind spot. For the eye protection. For the protection of eye, we are having eyebrows, eyelids, eyelashes, and lacrimal glands. When the dust or foreign particle that irritates the eye wall, immediately the lacrimal gland secretes and flushes it out. And the vitreous chamber and aqueous chamber is filled with a fluid, vitreous humor and aqueous humor. They help to prevent the mechanical shocks to the eyeball. Let us discuss the defects and diseases of the eye. The main diseases for the eye is the defects in some areas. Here, the first disease we are going to discuss is night blindness. Here, the persons having the problem in the rods, they can't identify the light intensities during the low light conditions. They can't form the image clearly on the retina due to the problem in the rods. And next eye disease is xerophthalmia. Here in this condition, the eye fails to produce the enough wetness. Due to that, the eye dries up and causes to the loss of vision. The next eye disease is myopia, nearsightedness. These people can only see the near objects, they can't able to see the far away objects because there is a problem in the adjustment of lens by the ciliary muscles. Similarly, hypermetropia, far-sightedness. They are able to see the far objects, they can't able to see the nearby objects. This is also due to the problem in the adjustment of lens. Next eye disease is glaucoma. In this condition, the optic nerve is damaged due to some metabolic disorders like diabetes, high blood pressure. The optic nerve damages and it can't carry the nerve impulses that created by the eye to the brain. Next disease is cataract. Cataract, it is a cloudy structures that formed in the aqueous chamber due to the crystallization of the liquid called as aqueous humor. That also makes the vision blurry. And another eye disease, we call it as a color blindness. Here there are two types of color blindness. One is deuteranopia and tritanopia. Here these people are having the insensitivity of green color, yellow and blue color. There is a confusion between green color and blue color, and these type of confusions makes the color blindness. Okay. Now let us see what is illusions that tell about our sensation. When your mind deceives you by interpreting a stimulus pattern incorrectly, you are experiencing a illusion. Such illusions can help us understand some fundamental properties of sensation, and particularly the discrepancy between what we see and external reality is different. So whatever you are seeing now, these are a type of illusions.